Now let us say hello to our intrepid water sport king.
Number 1, what is your name, please?
My name is Steve Nelson.
Number 2.
My name is Steve Nelson.
Number 3.
My name is Steve Nelson.
All three of them look like Johnny Weissmuller. Did you notice that? Well, let's find out about Steve Nelson. This is what his affidavit says. I, Steve Nelson, am the winner of the World Championship Inner Tube Race. Competing against 1,250 tubophiles on the churning Colorado River, I kicked and hand paddled my way to victory in the impressive time of 1 hour and 41 minutes. Impressive because the course was over 7 miles long. My winning was a big upset. I was a mere novice in the big-time Inner Tube League. In fact, I had never raced before. I received a handsome 2-foot trophy for my splashing success, a success all the more unusual in that, unlike all other contestants who used automobile inner tubes, I sat immersed in a pathetic-looking tube from a bicycle wheel. Signed, Steve Nelson. And Peggy Cass, I guess you're going to have to start.
Thank you. Number 3, did you lie flat out on your inner tube, or did you really sit in it?
Well, I couldn't very much lie down on a little tube like this.
I don't know how you could sit in it either, though.
I wrapped it around me and then kind of.
Oh, you wrapped it around you, I see. Number 1, are there big rocks in the river?
Some places, there are like sandbars, and there's rocks near the sandbars, but on the whole, no, it's about waist deep most of the time.
I see. Number 2, how swift is the current where you did the race?
It's very slow, and the affidavit is misleading when it says that the river is churning. It's more like a gurgling. And it's so slow that a couple once stopped there during the race and had a wedding.
You're kidding.
No, on a sandbar they had a wedding.
People are always bragging on how they rush down the Colorado River. Parts of it must be churning.
Yeah, well, this part was right near Yuma, and it's very slow there.
You're a good, honest kid, and I like you.
I wish to, at this point, apologize for the affidavit. We should have said of a slowly churning river. A barely churning river. You got a new picture? All right, we'll start. This fellow was in a wading contest. This happened in a bathtub in Colorado. But we'll forge ahead anyway. Gene?
Number 3, how much pressure, what pound of pressure did you put in that tube before you wrapped it around yourself?
I think it was about as much as you put in when you put it in the bive.
Was there, number 1, was there an entry fee to get into this race?
Yes, $1.
Number 2, when you were floating calmly down this churning, gurgling river, did you notice a lot of kids younger than you? What is the age limit for being in this contest?
Well, the youngest you could be would be 10, and there's no age limit, maximum age.
Number 3, were there any old people, very old people in this race when you were in it?
Yeah, there were quite a few older people that just went along.
Like 30?
Not that old.
Thank you, Gene. Let's go to Kitty.
Number 1, what was the temperature of the water you was sitting in, lying in, paddling in?
Being married.
It was between 70 and 80 degrees. It was very warm.
No kidding. I didn't think the Colorado River ever got that warm. Number 3, nobody turned blue or anything like that.
No, it was pretty hot.
Hot and blue, you've heard of that song.
I love this whole spot. The whole thing is disappearing. I've been wondering. It's a warm, slow float that the fella had.
Which people pause to be married.
Now, wait a minute. I have another question.
He didn't go in. He walked down the bank.
Bicycle.
I have another question that's going to dissipate this whole churning river myth. How high were the waves on the sandbanks?
Who are you asking?
Number 2.
How high?
How high were the waves from the sand? Because, there are sand waves in these rivers.
Well, the waves themselves, they weren't, you could hardly even see them.
I knew it.
Okay, and from there we go down to Bill Cullen.
Ask him what state the river is in.
Hey, Gary, I think I finally found a contest you and I can enter. Number 2, this couple had stopped in the middle of the race to get married. How'd they make out? I mean, how'd they finish in the race? Number 2.
Well, they didn't bother to finish. They were too busy.
They just waded ashore and waited the race out. Is that the idea?
They had other things to do.
No, yeah, I guess. Number 3. How long was this race? Oh, about 4 feet.
It was 7 miles.
It was 7 miles.
7 miles. That's a pretty long race. And number 1, how did you wear your inner tube? I mean, did you sit in it or wrap it around like number 3 did?
I wrapped it around.
And what was your time, number 1? Thank you, Bruce.
3 weeks and 7 days. Well, that's all the time we have for questioning. It is now time for us to vote. I dare you. What do you think? Number 1, or number 2, or number 3? The usual penalties will apply, and Peggy Cass commences.
Well, gee, I can't wait to go there and take a nice, warm, therapeutic rest cure. But the thing is, I know who could vote for anyone but Tooey's so honest. He's the apple of my eye, a regular American boy who tells the truth. And I love you, number 2. I wish you were older.
Well, you could be younger.
Shut up.
Gene, what do you think?
I really have to say what Peggy said, except that I don't wish he was younger and or older. And I vote for number 2, a boy who is certainly worth waiting for.
All right, we got a pair of 2s. And Kitty?
Well, I think they're all absolutely marvelous. And they all told the truth, and they all said exactly the way it was, I'm sure. I had to vote for number 2, too, because he's the one that started off this whole truth party.
Well, we got a big trend shaping up here. Bill, are you going to make it unanimous, my friend?
Well, number 3 has the build of a swimmer. I don't know if you noticed that. He looks like a fella, and I imagine you have to be more a swimmer than an inner tube floater. But I had to vote for number 2. Because if he wasn't telling the truth, the real one is going to beat him up right after the show. And on the basis of trying to help with his medical expenses, I voted for 2.
Well, it seems like just yesterday that the panel got totally stumped, doesn't it? This time they're all terribly right or terribly wrong. Will the real Steve Nelson please stand up? Guys. Great job. You win $500. Number 1, sir, what's your real name? What do you do?
My name's Steve Best, and I go to Brooklyn Technical High School.
What do you do, Curly?
And number 2, World's Waiting Championship. What is your name? What do you do?
My real name is Gary Von Stage, and I'm a student at Huntington High School in New York.
Good to have you. Let's get to the real Steve. Steve, did at any time at all, did the water churn fast at all?
Yeah, there are places where it churns.
Oh, good. Is there any place where it got over 2 feet deep?
Yes, it averages about 3 or 4 feet deep throughout.
Can
the
you get married there?
Yeah, somebody
there are
did actually
waves.
get married.
There are waves.
Oh, no, not waves.
No.
Not there.
Well, let's quit while we're winning. You got it churning and running fast and ice cold. And thank you, Steve, very much. Before you destroy our entire image, you and the rest of the guys, thanks a lot. We'd love to stay longer with your friends, but we have to leave for a crawling race through a sauna bath. We'll see you next time. Take care now.
Transportation and other consideration provided by Pan American World Airways, featuring theater in the air, international flight crew service, tours on tape, weather insurance, all new from the world's most experienced airline. Our central characters today will receive a $25 certificate from the Yield House catalog, where you can select luxurious pine furniture or hundreds of gift home decorating items. Yield House in North Conway, New Hampshire. Inner tube race film courtesy Al Loback of station KBLU in Yuma, Arizona. Prizes or product mentions were furnished and or paid for by the manufacturers or supplier of the products or services identified on this program. This is Johnny Olson speaking for To Tell the Truth, a Mark Goodson, Bill Todman production.